Welcome into DC On Screen. This is a review episode, recap and review episode as we do. Drop it a little earlier this week because we actually sat down and watched Legends together.
Yeah.
We had a chance to hang out together and do that.
A rare moment.
We're getting super spoilery on Legends 218, Aruba, the season finale for season 2.
Mm-hmm. Spoiler. There's no Aruba.
There's no Aruba. And to recap, the Legends head back to 1916 to reshuffle the deck, knowing that their future selves will be erased, but hoping that if they avoid themselves, they won't destroy time. Instead, they cause a time storm, and the Legion crashes the party and the ship. After one do-or-die charge by both versions of the team, most of the future Legends are KIA. In the end, it becomes Sara's duty to overcome her inner darkness and use the spear one last time for the better. With the 2016 version of the team intact, 2017 really they say, short one rip, they take off to Aruba, only to crash in a futuristic 2017 LA smattered with raptors. Dinosaurs.
I think I meant to say 1916 version of the team.
Is it, what?
Yeah, that's what I meant to put in there.
All right, well, I don't know. So, in case you didn't know, I'm David C. Robertson. This is my co-host, Jason Goss.
Hello!
So, it was,
It started off so well.
It started off very well. At the beginning, I was like, oh my gosh, there's some funny lines here.
It was.
I laughed at some things that Mick said, and,
It appears to be a desk lamp.
it appears to be a desk.
Bollocks.
Yes, that was fine.
Where should I set our nearest destination? The nearest open window.
Absolutely. That was good stuff.
That was solid.
And from there, it went downhill.
Even Eobard coming back like, I grabbed him from the future. I'm from the future. No, not that future.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun.
And then there was a...
Yeah, I loved Malcolm. Wait, there are two sets of Legends? When do I get to rob a bank? That's fun. But it did. It fell pretty flat.
It just didn't, how do I put this? It's not that it didn't make sense. It holds together.
It makes sense. It holds together.
It just missed a lot of opportunities, and it promised more than it offered.
Well, we talked about it in the last news episode, Guggenheim, and I think it was actually Klemmer. It was Phil Klemmer, not Guggenheim. It was talking about how it's a meat grinder and they're killing so many people, and we should have known, but it wasn't the people that. I mean, it didn't hold any weight. It held no water.
No,
because it was future versions who were, bound to not exist anyway, so who gives a crap?
Yeah, that was kind of the main problem with it. It might as well have been a dream episode.
Yeah.
And it's... I'm not sure if it's a desensitization effect or what on... Desensitization? Effect on my end or what, but I feel like I've seen enough storylines over the years with looped time and saying goodbye to your old self to do that. This isn't particularly shocking.
Yeah, I know. I think I've seen this on Voyager, Star Trek Voyager, at least thrice.
Yeah.
Between that and
Family
Enterprise.
Guy's done it.
Thanks, Brandon Braga.
A couple of times.
Yeah. It's enough of a trope that Family Guy's making fun of it. So.
Yeah. It's kind of... It was a little weak to start it out by saying, hey, we're going to erase ourselves, and then are we supposed to care as each one of the team members dies? I just didn't.
No.
Even Ray, and I do love Ray.
Yeah. I didn't give a crap.
Didn't give a shit. No. Bizarre.
He got his heart ripped out, and I was like, all right.
Other than me being proud that Eobard was finally taking his colleague's advice, I just didn't care.
Yeah, I give a shit.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. I hate Nate. I officially hate Nate.
I liked him earlier, too, but...
He's on a mission, and he gets distracted by this woman who he knows is dead, and he sees her, and he hugs her, and it's like, why? Why, man?
Yeah.
Why are you going to mess up time? You know what you're supposed to do. If you don't do what you're doing right now, she might live. Okay, well, keep screwing up, you moron.
Yeah. Well, Nate and Vixen have both been as dumb as the writers required them to be for several episodes now.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Or as smart. I mean, Nate has come through with his historian superpowers a few times, but for the most part, he's just blundering through this relationship at the expense of time. Mm-hmm. It's been really unfortunate. And Vixen still just hasn't learned a damn thing. I mean, at the end of this, she's like, I have to believe time is stronger than that. What the hell? When did she become an expert on time?
Yeah.
She's been hanging out here for a few months. Before that, she didn't, like, Einstein's relativity was pretty much a new concept.
To be fair, you know, she's not wrong. Time has to be stronger than that because, I mean, she's on a time ship. No matter when she goes back to 1942, she can start her destiny there.
I guess.
I mean, tell me we wouldn't say the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Martin, we've been dealing with Martin doing that for 2 damn seasons.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I know I want to spend time with my wife before we both get too old to live and we both die, but you know what? I still want to be on the Wave Rider.
Yeah.
Come,
cake. And eating cake.
I shall have this cake and I shall eat it as well.
Right. Yeah, it's been an ongoing problem with Legends, though, that they try to... And I think the problem is, though, that the show's trying to make drama out of the characters wanting to do one thing and not wanting to do another, and they end up not being drastic enough, I feel like, in the, you know, what do you really get to do category. Like, at least in this one, Sara does have to kill Laurel. And by the way, is Laurel played by Jesus? I'm confused.
What?
I kept thinking, like, this is a very understanding Laurel.
Yeah.
And it is the Spirit of Destiny that, like, stabbed Jesus. So, like, is that Jesus being
I don't know.
manifested as Laurel or what?
Yeah.
Is that a god Laurel? I don't know.
Was that wine Jesus' blood?
Yes.
Or did she turn water into wine because she screwed up that cork? You know what? Zack Snyder didn't make
that was
this.
a real thing.
This not that deep.
Was Sara just really hugging a cracker?
It's awful, man. It's awful.
We used to get saltines back in the day.
Yeah,
oyster crackers.
I remember.
I used to hope there was chili at home.
Oh man, me and Matt of the MCU cast used to when it was days for the Lord's Supper, we would sing when the roll is called up yonder, chili will be there.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we would just throw chili into everything.
That's good.
And get poked by elders.
I would get stuck somewhere between like the 11 o'clock service and the 6 o'clock service on Sundays.
Yeah.
Just stuck up at the church with nothing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you know, my parents were there; they were just busy, so
Sure.
we would just kind of like raid the kitchen and try to find the stale oyster crackers.
Mm-hmm.
It was a real blessing when they were there.
Yeah.
It was a bigger blessing if you found the stale donuts from Sunday morning. That was a real win.
See, no food was really left over at our church. No, everybody, like, there was this one kid who was not right, but he would just shove as many Pepsis as he could into every pocket of those cargo pants and try to sneak out the door.
Nice.
But anyway,
It was a small enough one that like my grandfather built the kitchen. I knew the extra cabinets.
okay. Well,
And, I had to help clean the place every month. So I knew all the extra hiding places.
So my wrong-headedness as a child aside,
Uh-huh.
I feel guilt. I don't know about you, but anyway, moving on. I don't even know. What's the little radiation for 1/2 of Firestorm? How awful was that?
Yeah, it was a lot of really bad distractionary tactics. I was just... and
like surprisingly and kind of impressively bad.
Yeah. Stale, to try to bring that all back around.
Mm-hmm.
It was bad. I like that part of the show is where it went from being kind of funny, kind of solid. I'm sitting there thinking like, oh man, is this going to pull it out like the last finale did?
Mm-hmm.
And then it got to the distractionary stuff, and it was just it went downhill fast. And then by the time we're just charging the Legion of Doom in the middle of a field, and then there's this reverse flash overkill thing where he brings in like 100 of them.
I don't even want to try to get into the logistics of all that.
No,
it's a lot of time remnant thawns.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it makes sense on some level if you really want to try.
Yeah, you can always pull the like, oh, he's so fast and blah 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 thing, but it is just a little odd, no matter how you do it. Now, and I think the last moment where it's a really bad show is Sarah's "Legends Never Die."
Yeah, her Goonies line.
Her Goonies line.
They hung a lantern on it too,
which helped.
It helped a little. I was actually proud of them that they didn't actually have just like a little interlude where Sara got down with Sara. I was actually really proud of them. I fully expected them to do that.
It wouldn't have surprised me. Not one bit. Although I'll give her credit. She's never been, it is a narcissistic thing to want to do. Mm-hmm. I've never seen Sara as a narcissist. To be fair, it would have been out of character.
I don't know. I was expecting it in that scene where she was like, you know what we do with weapons. There's a darkness in us. And they just stand there for a second. I was expecting one of them to start pulling off their clothes, you know. I fully expected it.
I know, because she seduces like every lady in the history of time. But
Yeah.
this is a different thing.
Why
That it would have
she-
been narcissistic, and I'm going to go ahead and say that I guess narcissism would be out of character for her.
Maybe. A little bit.
I'm trying to make an argument here.
But you gotta have a certain level of narcissism to just assume command of a ship.
Yeah, there's a thin line between confidence
She's
and
kind of looked
narcissism.
around and went, I don't like any of these other guys.
But they all kind of looked around and went, I don't want it. Even Stein looked around and went, I shall try. Failed. Here you go.
Yeah. When did Jax get a tattoo on his arm?
I don't know. Did the
just
makeup
noticed
artist forget something?
I just noticed it this episode. That he
No,
had a
I've never
tattoo.
noticed it.
I don't know. Okay, in the big fight with the Legion of Doom at the end, why does Damien not use his magic at all?
Unknown.
Is it because he's the past Damien? Oh wait, when he got the Spear of Destiny, he gave himself his magic back.
Yes.
So he didn't have his magic.
So he is past Damien.
He is past Damien, he doesn't have his magic.
Yes.
The only one that was from the future was Thawne.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright.
We're good there. Okay, show.
But I got my eye on you.
Yeah. Now, it finally gets back to being solid for a second when we get to Mick and Snart.
Uh-huh.
That little conversation about you end up being a better man. And
I
so do
almost cried.
That was good, right?
I got tearful.
Yeah.
I really did.
Like, their relationship meant so much in the first season that even the recall of it was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was finally worth it.
Yeah. Ugh.
Pancaked it with more Nate stuff and
Yeah.
raptors.
Nate stuff on raptors. That's the new bat wieners and flipper hands, guys. Yep. Okay, so when they're fighting, I just gotta say there's no way Jax, without his powers, takes down Malcolm Merlin
Not a chance in
by
three hells.
whipping out a bow from Merlin's quiver and slashing him with it. Actually, no, absolutely not.
One Schrodinger snowball and an infinite series of hells does not
Yeah.
possibly... No. Nope. And uses an arrow move, you realized.
Did he?
Yeah.
No, I didn't notice that.
I mean, it was like the bow to the back of the calf move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Achilles heel or
Yeah.
whatever it was.
Yeah, it was like one of those really cool arrow choreography things.
I
they
mean, it
introduced.
looked like an arrow thing, but I didn't really notice that it was
I'm just saying,
necessarily
there's
a
no
specific
way
one.
he gets an arrow. Like, a man who's never touched quiver to bow, suddenly gets a bow out of said
You know
quiver.
what? I suspect that Jax is a metahuman. Even before the Firestorm situation. Maybe he's one of those cats like, who was the cat in the Chicken Heroes who could just, like,
The
analyze
Chicken
muscle
Heroes.
movement and just have it?
Oh, the chicken heroes that could just, mimicker. Mimicry.
Yeah, like a muscle mimic.
Muscle mimic.
Maybe he's something like that. Like, he just
Okay.
saw-
There was a guy in a short-lived sci-fi show called Alphas that his main power was like basically an overamped sense of kinesthesiology. So if you needed something to happen with your body and physics, he could just kind of make it happen within the power, like within the realm of what his body could do normal things. But there's like a scene where he throws a quarter into a vending machine from about 6 feet away, just to prove to himself that he can do it.
Yeah.
So something like that maybe, but
Because, I mean, he just magically learned how to fix
just magically
the wave
learned how
rider.
to fix the Wave Rider and
Now he's
understands
just-
what Ray's talking about, and he can defeat a League of Assassins guy. And oh, by the way, Mick Rory can sneak up on Damien Dark. That can happen now.
Yeah.
Another
I
League of
saw that.
Assassins guy.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was weird. Also, he just sits there and dies instead of pulling the trigger. Mm-hmm. You do both. You know what? I'm telling you, if I'm sitting there with my finger on a trigger and somebody stabs me through the back,
Sure.
I'm probably just instinctively clenching my fists,
Yeah.
my fists, and
fence?
and yeah, I'm clenching my finger fence.
Is it a chain link fence? Is it a privacy fence?
It's a knuckle link fence that will clench around the trigger,
Uh-huh.
thus killing the person in front of me.
Yeah.
It seems like a thing that would normally happen.
I don't know. Even Sarah being like, I'm not gonna, death is too good for you. Just kill him. Just please kill Damien Dark.
No, that was a stupid line, but it at least was right. She had to reset it. She had to put him back in the freaking Miami Vice outfit and send him on his way. I get it.
Don't even care. I want him dead. I'm tired.
I'm actually not tired of Damien Dark. He is funny. I mean, he has funny lines.
He's funny, and I enjoy him, but I feel like they were like, hey, you know what? He was not the problem in season 4 of Arrow. How about we just keep having him on? I feel like they're slowly, like, draining him of his cool.
Well, they are. I think, though, they just literally put him in a time loop. His story is done.
I hope so. I don't ever want to see him again.
He's done. And, you know,
You don't know that.
I mean, I know they can bring anybody back, but within the rules of storytelling, for now, he's how do I say, solvent. He's solvent.
Okay.
You'd have to do something odd to bring, like, there's no loose ends here.
Okay.
You can at least pretend that you don't have to deal with him again.
Yeah, I guess so.
He's back in that stupid shoulder-padded blazer.
If the question is, hey, do we bring back Damien Dark or do we bring back Vandal Savage? I plead the Dark.
I say you make Double Down the new villain.
Double Down.
Wasn't that his name?
Yeah, that wasn't. Yeah,
I liked him.
He was fun for about 5 minutes.
Could pull out anybody. I'll take Anarchy.
I was even annoyed by Sara with the spear going, I can't do this. There's so much darkness inside.
Oh,
like, really?
God.
Are
Not
we doing
the time
this
for that
again?
speech.
Yeah.
How many times have you lost somebody because you stood there in the middle of a battlefield? Just this season, Legends. How many times have you lost someone because someone in the middle of a big battle decided to have a thought? No. Contemplation is out.
Now, you know what? We had recorded segments talking about some stuff on the news that we didn't bring up that I decided to cut out because they were April Fools, and I was like, you know what? Let's not talk about that. But you know what? I'll talk about them here because Legends of Tomorrow has actually pissed me off so much that the April Fools news, the fake news, was the most exciting thing that I've seen from Legends in a long time. Mm-hmm. There were 2 news stories that were fake. One, that next season we would see Arm fall off boy from the future who rips off his arm and uses it as a bludgeoning device. He's got a big pink asshole in his shoulder. Mm-hmm. That would have been amazing and hilarious and inspired to even try to do. And the other thing was,
and it made sense because there was that Legion moment.
Yeah,
like it actually made sense.
Yeah,
it was clever April Fool's.
And there was a bit that said, you know, they took a quote from Guggenheim saying they were going to pull somebody from, not from the comics, but an established character who was going to show up. And they spun that into a Chloe Sullivan, Allison Mack coming back to reprise the role. Those are both probably pretty doable. I don't know what Allison Mack has been doing, but I ain't seen her around.
No, I haven't.
But both of those things are more inspired than anything we've seen this season.
My biggest concern is that Allison Mack actually saw that and went, oh.
Yeah. That made me sad.
That's the thought that would keep me up at night with that. Is
no.
I hope she didn't see that and think, oh God.
Okay.
Well, I have to. Yeah.
I was going to try to not open my Coke as loudly. I need just screw it.
Man's got to have a drink.
I'm drinking.
He's drinking a Diet Coke. Is what it is.
I have to tame my Asper.
Yeah. All right, so they broke time. That's all we have left then. They broke time. There's a futuristic-looking building in the background.
There's a boy laying on top of a raptor dying of tuberculosis.
Probably. His name's Oscar Wilde.
All the greats had TB.
Had the consumption.
The consumption, y'all.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know where that leaves us. And the producers have told us, like, hey, we're going to do a... the producers sat there and told us, like, it's going to be we're going to do a reset with the cast a little bit.
Yeah, the meat grinder.
Yeah, I'm sitting there looking at it going, yeah,
but
you should do all that. I mean, like, even the meat grinder thing, yeah, you killed a bunch of people, but they were all dead men walking.
And you know what? I was sort of, at the end there, like, Rip is like, I must go, blah, 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 blah. I have to leave and take my leave of the things. And I'm like, what? Throw us a line here. Give us a little character development. I mean, maybe because he spent like an entire year on the Wave Rider baking cakes, he just decided, I got to get out of this damn ship. Mm-hmm. It would be nice to kind of see him go through that a little bit instead of just being drunk and then comedically coming back.
Yep. Fun as that was.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun, but it does nothing for the character development. It does nothing to show us really, I'm kind of getting tired of people occasionally, not often, but occasionally chiming in and being like, oh, they shouldn't have to walk walk you through all this. You shouldn't have to hold your hand. You can, no, at a certain point that just becomes headcanon. Where it's just, they just refuse to show you any real character development.
Yeah.
Oh, you can guess. No,
there really is, you have to imply stuff.
Part of, it's one thing, it's fine to imply stuff, but it's another thing, like, you need to actually go through the journey a little bit with some of these characters to actually get, to actually feel something for them. And as such, I don't care about any of these characters right now.
Yeah. It's really this giant spectrum between over-exposition and headcanon.
Yeah, I mean...
We have to find a middle ground and tell me a story and be a little clever. That's the whole point.
And Legends has basically devolved into all spectacle, no heart for me. They can throw, Laurel at Sara.
I mean, it's not completely no heart, but...
No, I mean, they just throw...
And it's not even completely no humor. Like, I get a couple chuckles out of an episode. Yeah. Like even this episode, the Snart and Mick thing was great, but that's still pulling off what you did for season 1. There wasn't a big emotional payoff for season 2. That's a huge, that's the thing. That's a huge check in the negative column for me. That's a con here.
Largely what they do is, in terms of heart and actually moving the characters forward, is they just rest on the laurels of the previous shows. Like, we could have gotten a lot of, we basically feel the way we do about Mick and Snart because of season 1 of Legends.
Yeah, well then, that's my point though. Is like between season 1 of The Flash, season 1 of Legends, you have this a couple of years worth of good relationship, and all you did was like name check it here. Mm-hmm. Well, in
same thing with Sara and Laurel. To me.
Sara and Laurel, you've got this history of this, but that wasn't quite enough. It wasn't even a true Laurel. Mm-hmm.
It was
there
Ghost
should
Christ
be
Laurel.
Something. Yeah. There should be something in the course of season 2 that's emotionally profound enough that at the end of this season I went, oh man, that was hard to watch. Mm-hmm. But that was intrinsic to the season.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that.
Flash usually gives it to us.
Flash is definitely going to give it to us.
Arrow
every
usually
time.
gives it to us, but in a different way. Oh man, that was hard to watch.
Yeah.
I got bigger hopes for this season though.
Even they have like a story arc that didn't pay off necessarily for us, but it technically worked. This one had nothing that technically worked. And if you say Nate and Vixen, I say I'm sorry, it didn't work.
Yeah,
that's not technically
don't
functional.
Like Nate and Vixen. I'm blah on.
I was okay with them up front, but it only like as a side. It just that wasn't enough. Wasn't enough.
I mean, she's attractive and she does a good job with what she's given, but they don't give her much. I haven't seen nearly enough of the torment about what Nate should have told her.
No, nothing.
And I'm sorry, but if you're like looking at the guy you love dying on the ground with blood pouring out of his mouth, and he's like basically, first of all, the whole "don't be a douche" line, way to go out with class.
Oh yeah, that's one of the worst "I'm dying" lines I've ever actually heard.
Telling your past self, "Don't be a douche." Second, I don't care if there's another version of the man you love behind you. You're still watching the man you love die. This is, at best, the worst nightmare you've ever had. You don't just wake up.
Actually, though, let me take it a step back. My biggest problem maybe with Amaya this season is, and it's still not her fault. It's that the best material they gave her was like one of the first few good scenes for her. Like, she watched Rex Tyler die, and it was the most intense thing we saw her do for the entire season. Like, we were, and that's the most emotionally connected we were to that character the whole time.
Yeah.
Short of maybe the moment where she watches her, her village die and her foster family and all that. But even then, even when Nate's telling her about that, I wasn't emotionally connected to her for hearing it. I was emotionally connected to him for being a dick.
Yeah.
All it did was take away from Nate, not add to Vixen.
Yeah. So it's been a rough ride.
Yes.
In a lot of ways. And, that is to say, I want to reiterate, I'm not attacking the actress who plays Vixen. I think she does a fine job for what they give her. And for that matter, the dude that plays Nate does a fine job for what they give him.
I don't think there's a matter of performance here that I'm really upset with. It's just the direction of the show and the individual story arcs for both the shows and the seasons have had a lot of... Well, they've left just a lot to be desired.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. And one of the problems with Legends is I never feel like there is ever... And this is just going to be one of the problems, period, no matter what they do at this point. Unless they drastically change the tone of the show, which nothing in the title Legends of Tomorrow says they have to be a time travel show. I feel like there are never any real stakes because they are so footloose and fancy free with the time travel. And also, they have, a bunch of other shows that are tied into it that can't be disturbed.
That's one of the main problems. Is you just don't think like she's gonna grab, like you didn't think Sarah was gonna grab that Spear of Destiny and you were gonna go to Arrow next in a few weeks, I guess, and go,
yeah,
it's all different.
Which was the problem with Flashpoint over The Flash. Is like, I don't know,
no one cared.
Well, I mean, except they did alter John Jr. still there. You know?
Yeah, I mean there was at least something, but
you're not gonna.
There isn't. Yeah, you're right. There isn't like a set of stakes that we can really deal with, and even in the course of this show, where what they try to reiterate over and over again is you need time to cement, and apparently you need reality to cement. Even though you told me at the beginning of the series this season that the Spear of Destiny just did things magically. Mm-hmm. Apparently reality still has to cement. So like you give yourself that leeway of the cementing period to play with.
Ripple effect.
Yeah, where it's not supposed to affect the other shows and you can do stuff within your own timeline and you still have to like save the rest of the Berlanti universe from your show. It's still not enough. Like I didn't feel at any point during this episode that that anything was truly at stake. I wasn't worried.
Yeah.
At any moment.
Me either.
That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, to contrast, though, end of last season, when Mick's about to sacrifice himself and Snart apologizes to his old friend and knocks him out, that was something I was invested in. I was worried. I cared about who died and when. Like, it mattered.
Yeah.
Nothing in this finale mattered as much.
Yeah.
Like on paper, it should have. She saved reality, as Rip put it. Yeah. It just didn't come across.
Now, do you think Rip's gone?
No.
Do you think Art Darwell doesn't have like a million other better acting jobs lined up?
Probably, but I don't. My initial problem is if they broke time, how does Rip Hunter not walk off that ship and go, oh shit?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how does he not look around and go, oh,
that's fair. See, I didn't even think
in any time.
I just
think about it. In any time, if he walked off in 1957 or 1012, he should walk off and go, "Oh, there shouldn't be a blockbuster in 1012." You know.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought is, logically, Rip can't be gone. But yeah, whether Arthur Darvill has better things to do,
I'm sure.
At least a 70% chance.
I mean, that's why he wasn't on the show most of the season, or a fair amount of the season, because he was doing Broadchurch. Sadly, I was thinking we can't be truly done with Rip Hunter until we get Booster Gold, right?
That'd be great. That's something I've wanted the whole time.
All right. Well, I think we've ground out any hope of this show being, or of any our listeners thinking that we liked the episode.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
I really wanted to like it too. I was looking forward to it. The Meat Grinder comments.
I was excited. I was.
I should have known.
Yeah.
Fooled me once though. Every time, it seems like by every passing week, I trust these guys a little less.
I kind of did too. And, I've always been the one that said, like, I have so little expectations. And then, apparently I don't have expectations, but I do have, like, I don't know, hope.
Yeah.
Which is only slightly different, but.
Well, for me, like, my expectations are just keep getting lower. I'm like, well, surely they wouldn't do that. Oh, man.
Oh, they did that.
They went for it. What?
Yeah. I know.
Anywho.
Call it?
Yeah.
Call it for a couple weeks?
Yeah, on the television reviews. Call it for a few months on Legends.
Yep. So, August or September.
I don't know. Mourn, celebrate, whichever you got to do. Legends of Tomorrow is over for the season. And we wish it were a better thing.
We wish you liked. If you liked it, I'm sorry. Good for you. No hard feelings.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome to try to convince us otherwise. It's we would like to like the episode, but I kind of doubt it. That you're gonna convince us. But anyway, we are DC On Screen. You can find every episode at DCOnScreen.com. We're proud members of the Giant Size Team Up Network, GiantSizeTeamUp.com for all of those cool shows. And I think we're gonna do a Q&A.
Yep.
So until then, keep some DC on your screen.